Hello and welcome to This Week at Shrouded, episode 6, I believe. We're just going to call this one probably Lightfall Impressions. I've got no script written out for it. I've kind of got like a guide on to walk us through what we're going to be talking about, but obviously we're just really going to be giving our Lightfall impressions, what we like or dislike about it, and kind of discuss that and chat about it. And then, God forbid, if we run out of things, maybe we can take a look at, the TWA. But really, it's just there's not really much on there that we really need to go over or discuss or any of that nature. So quick reminder to all the people that are watching the VOD later on. This is streamed live to our Patreon users. Welcome, Patreon users. If anyone's watching live, you're amazing. Thanks for supporting the community. However, if you're interested in watching it live Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern times, you can do so on our Patreon, patreon.com/shroudedgaming. Other than that, we're really just going to get into this because there's a lot to unpack and a lot of opinions. And a lot of stuff about everything, really. So we can really start off with general opinions on the expansion, and then talk about specifics as we move along. So I assume that everybody's played a lot of it. I know Rect has, but I haven't really talked to you at all. Good saying. You playing a lot of Lightfall?
I finished it, legendary in all 3 characters.
Okay, so a lot of Lightfall.
Yeah.
All right. What give your basic opinion. How about we start with that? Did you like Lightfall?
I mean, it's new content, so yeah.
Translation for everybody listening. That's a no.
No, there were things that I did and things that I didn't.
Okay.
But
That's fair. Rect, I know you got a lot of opinions on Lightfall. General overscope of it, how would you rate it?
It's a C on my tier list of all Destiny content ever.
I would agree with that 100%, yeah.
Okay. So I don't agree with that, and that's okay. We're going to discuss why. Mostly. I've really been enjoying Lightfall. I like a lot about it. And if you'll notice a couple things on the internet, is a lot of complaints about Lightfall is story related. And we all know that is the least important thing for me. So, obviously, maybe that's why I'm on the side fighting the rest of the internet right now. Not really fighting, but just giving my opinion. And I don't know if it's the majority. I don't think it's the majority. But typically when people don't like things, they're the louder ones. So it does currently look like this is a majority group, or whether they're just jumping on the group mentality. But overall consensus right now is Lightfall's not a good expansion. However, the further we get into the week, the opinions of things like Strand and the expansion in general, I think, is going up.
Yeah.
Everyone still, like, a good chunk of people still don't particularly like how the story went and how the campaign was really focused on learning how to do Strand rather than, pushing forward the Destiny lore. And then everybody seemed really mad about not knowing what the Veil is. And that one got me, like, really funny. It's like, do you just think they're never gonna, like, explain what it is? But whatever. Anyway. And then they did in the TWAB. Wasn't that cool? Did you guys read that?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't read it in the TWAB, they literally said that. What did they say exactly? Here it says. Right here, it says, we know there are still plenty of questions left unanswered at the end of Lightfall's campaign that you're all eagerly awaiting answers to. Wait, hold on. This might not be the right space. No, it's not. Oh, fuck. I should have wrote down where it is. Blah, 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 blah. They are saying, getting into Season of Defiance, and there's going to be a lot of Lightfall Final Shape story beats in Season of the Deep. but they specifically said, I'm looking for it now. I just can't find it. Sorry, I read it and I laughed. Where was it? Fuck's sakes. I'll have to look for it, Laura. I don't want to sit here and not talk while I'm looking for it. But essentially it says, now that we all know that the darkness is just, or the veil or the darkness is a gateway to something much bigger. And everybody was like, what? It is? Who said that? That was kind of like the consensus on Twitter the last couple of days. And then I was kind of like, oh, I mean, it did open like a big gate that the witness walked through. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
The Traveler's part of the Illuminati now.
Part of the Illuminati. I just figured, I saw the big triangle and I was like, oh, okay. So the final shape is a triangle. Got it. And that was my thought process. Okay, but overall, we're just going to get right into the campaign. I liked the missions themselves. I will hop on the train a little bit of like the drip feed of the Strand was kind of a weird choice. I would have very much liked to have more access to the build crafting of Strand before the last two missions. So that wasn't ideal for me specifically. Not a huge fan of that concept. But overall, I enjoyed doing the missions themselves. Not as much as Witch Queen. I think they hit a home run with the Witch Queen like missions themselves. And Lightfall was going to have a tough time, keeping that trend up. And I don't think they did that. However, I actually, this is where I don't get my like C tier content, or however Rect worded it, because I can't think of it. And also remember, I only played Destiny 2, and I don't remember the main campaign of Destiny 1, so I didn't get any storyline of any other expansion on D1. So if I look at all over Destiny from what I've played, this would be my personal second favorite storyline expansion that they've dropped.
With what being first, Witch Queen or Forsaken?
Oh, Witch Queen. I didn't particularly the missions in Forsaken, like the story in Forsaken is good, but the missions themselves weren't necessarily super enjoyable. Where I thought, I think maybe it might come down to being able to do them on Legendary, where you weren't able to do that in Forsaken. So they were really just kind of like, get me to the Dreaming City, blah blah. Here's another run and gun and run and gun and run and gun and run and gun. Whereas I do feel like the last two expansions really had me interested in doing the missions themselves. I don't know what the difference really is, but yes, Witch Queen number one. I really enjoyed these story missions. Not the story, but the missions themselves. I want to make that clear. And then, yeah, I guess Red War or Forsaken, they're really both the same to me when it comes to mission quality. So I want to kind of tackle this piece by piece. That was just my opinion on the main missions themselves. The Legendary campaign was back, and I thought it felt pretty good. It felt easier. I soloed it, just so everyone's aware. So I did not go into it in a fire team. Legendary campaign, and I thought it was easier than Witch Queen. Specifically, like Callus. Oh, by the way, I should have said this earlier. This will be full of spoilers. So if you haven't played the campaign, I don't recommend you watch this video. And sorry that I just spoiled that earlier. Maybe I should edit that in post.
Just put a spoiler warning at the beginning. In fact, when we do the thumbnail, just put spoilers in the thumbnail.
Yeah, I think we will. That's a good idea. Put spoilers themselves in the thumbnail. Anyway, specifically Callus, I found that fight was fine, but I thought the fight against Savathun was incredible. Whereas the fight against Callus was a good boss fight, but not as good as Sabathun's was. And being a Destiny 2 player, and knowing and seeing how Callus has evolved over, the last 5 years, I guess I was just really hoping there would be an Oryx situation on this where, Callus wouldn't die at the end of the campaign, which kind of really, it felt so empty to me,
Well,
especially the fact that Keitel wasn't actually in the room itself. I feel like she should have been a huge part of that, and she wasn't at all. So those are really my thoughts on the main missions themselves. I enjoyed the overall experience. The difficulty was pretty good. There was a couple things that I got frustrated with. The second last mission was a little tough to get through. But I mean, I only spent 45 minutes on it. It's not like I spent 8 hours on it or something. It just, I died.
How long did the final fight take you?
3 or 4 tries. Which
usually that's where most people that are trying to solo it have been stumbling.
Spinny room of death.
You see, the funny thing about that one is I did it on the very first try. I did it, and then once I got Callus to his second phase or whatever you want to call it, the things that come down and lock you in, I got trapped inside them coming down, and I couldn't get out, and I fell to my death. And then I died 2 or 3 more times trying to get to that point. And then once I did, again, that second phase, I hear people talking about I see the cheese spots on Twitter, I see the cheese spots on TikTok when I'm just scrolling through. Once I got to the second phase and didn't get trapped, it was super easy. I don't want to sound like a jackass, I guess, but I didn't see the difficulty.
Were you using Strand for that fight?
Yes.
Or were you using your regular super? Yeah. It's a lot easier to stay mobile and not get pinned down if you had Strand during that fight, especially because there's anchors everywhere.
Well, that's what I'd wondered, because you would just Strand. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I just said unless it was mandatory for the campaign, I opted out of it. For the final fight, I went with regular old supers and abilities and stuff. Just because I had full access to my stuff, whereas Strand, you didn't have full access to it yet. Just the stuff they gave you.
Yeah, that's true. I went the complete opposite route, and I used Strand as much as I possibly could throughout the entire campaign, because I recognized that it was designed for Strand. So I thought, maybe it would up the experience level or whatever it happened to be. So yeah, I did use Strand for that, and I guess that was the issue. Yeah, you just, you pop him a few times, and then you'd swing away. You pop him a few more times, swing away, pop him till he was dead. And then I see people just oh, if you can't get through it, here's a cheese spot, hide under the bridge and whatever, and shoot him in his kneecaps, and then eventually he dies. And I'm just who needs... Anyway, no, it sounds rude when I say it, and I get mad when people in Discord are be like, oh, dude, you're having trouble with that? It's so easy, because they sound like assholes. But like I said, I got to that round once fairly, and then I beat it. And
it is not... That fight on Legendary is not easy for the average Destiny player. Not at all. Mm-mm.
Well, should the average Destiny player be doing the Legendary campaign? Or should they be doing the normal campaign?
I don't know. I mean, I think the average player does the Legendary campaign but doesn't complete it in a day. It may take them a whole week to get it done.
I did. I streamed the whole session. I went from the beginning of the campaign to the end in one day. I had to take breaks throughout the day to do things IRL, but I finished it in 12 hours while taking a couple probably 2.5 hours full of breaks. So I guess 8 to 10 hours probably is how long it took me to get through the legendary on my hunter. Anyway, I don't know. But I was kind of, I was doing stuff other than just mission to mission. Yeah, maybe I wasn't.
I did it. I did the legendary campaign on my first playthrough with a full fire team of 3. Took 5 hours. It was no big deal. There were some memorable moments. The first time you fight a tormentor, not when it first shows up and just grabs a hold of somebody and just basically fucks them, but the first time you actually have to fight them, when you're in that room just before the hangars. We had it surrounded on 3 different angles, and we popped its shoulders and immediately enraged. And then we got to see how fast those damn things run when you piss them off. It pinned me in a corner. It was probably some of the most intense Destiny PvE I've ever had, and it was great. Tormentors are like my favorite thing about the whole expansion. It's such a fresh new enemy that does more interesting things that I hope we see more of that in the future.
Right.
Definitely a bright spot for me, but the legendary campaign was there were wipes along the way, obviously, but I found it to be easier than Witch Queen was, even with a 3-stack.
Well, they had mentioned they were nerfing the fire team difficulty.
Scaling. Yeah, the
scaling. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. So I was expecting it to be easier, but I didn't know how much easier. So you're saying, but you got through it in like 5 or 6 hours. So it sounds like it was. They definitely nerfed the difficulty level of the fire team scaling, for sure. Then
it was still satisfying though.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like it was a cakewalk, and it certainly wasn't easy.
That's good.
But the difficulty felt appropriate to me.
Okay.
The wife and I did it. We started late Tuesday, and then ended up finishing it on Wednesday because I think total it was maybe 8 hours and everything like that. And yeah, the whole tormentor thing. Yeah, the first time you actually fight one, I think that was the first time we actually wiped, and then every time after that, whenever you heard that little, audio cue that they were coming in and whatever mission you were in, it's like, oh shit, where the hell are they? Until I stumbled across the fact that you can actually blind them with blinding grenades, and then it's like, okay, fuck these guys, they're easy. The only ones that are hard are the actual bosses that you can't stun. And then once you can figure out that you can disorient them, then you just keep switching back and forth between a blinding GL and your weapon, and then cakewalk, easy. So I enjoy them as an enemy, but to make them more terrifying as they should be, I feel like they shouldn't be able to be blinded, or at least like not with a blinding grenade launcher. Maybe supers and stuff like that, but not that, because then it would make them more terrifying as they should be.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I only stumbled upon that by accident. I arc blinded him with my arc melee, which is like, I played most of the campaign as the arc hunter unless I was able to use strand. And I arc blinded him just as he was coming in to fucking rip my head off. And I was like, oh, well, that was cool. And then I killed him. However, get this was definitely a glitch, but I finished a tormentor and he just kind of pushed me aside and I had to do it again. That's never happened to me in all Destiny history since they added finishing during Forsaken. Yeah, I finished him and he was just like, what's up? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I did it again, hoping it wasn't like a thing, and he died. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, please be a glitch.
We went in with disorienting grenades off the rip. I farmed a lingering dread with chill clip and what was blinding grenades last season, specifically to be able to take it into the campaign. So the very first thing that happened when that tormentor showed up is I shot it with a grenade and watched it hide its eyes and stumble around. But when we popped its shoulders and I went to stun it, I missed, and then
Yep.
it just ran straight down my throat. So
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is, people had generally a decent time with the missions themselves.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed them. Recta, sounds like you had some fun moments.
yeah, I like the gameplay of the campaign, and the gameplay in general is Destiny, which
Okay.
is good.
The final mission in my opinion is probably the most fun. I've always liked siege missions in video games, and that felt like as siegey as you're gonna get in Destiny, just with waves upon waves of enemies coming at you. Shit like that in games is really, really fun to me. So I really enjoyed that, like the middle part of the last mission.
I actually really enjoyed that too, because when Keitel came, Keitel was badass in that mission, first of all.
Oh yeah.
And then when she was just down there meleeing two tormentors, like she was
Right.
king of the fucking world. Like I was like, she's badass, man.
Mhm.
That's a badass fucking cabal right there. Anyway, and then you kill them with. Oh, I guess at some point you lose your space satellite. That's probably that.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was
Yes.
pretty. That was a pretty cool little thing too. It's nice to use. I enjoyed it. I wish I had more of it. The cooldown on it was too long. It was like a minute. I'm just like, nah.
I'm sure they'll bring it back.
Give me more space lasers. Yeah, that was a pretty good mission. I enjoyed the mission. I enjoyed it overall. Like I said, I did enjoy the boss fight. Like, it was a good enough boss fight. But yeah, I didn't feel like it had the same impact as Savathun. And we didn't get enough Callus in the expansion, in my opinion. Would have been nice to have more of them. More. I like Callus, and he's been around forever. So it did seem kind of like a cheap cop-out. But I did like that he died like a disciple, like the whole
Right.
the fucking
tree
thing.
or
It was
whatever.
really neat.
Yeah.
That felt good, but it also feels final, which made me sad at the same time. I was like,
Oh yeah, he
"Aw."
did.
Yeah, he dead as hell.
Did you jump on his face and teabag him?
I jumped on his face and I cat ear danced on him.
Yep.
And took a photo.
That's worse. That's worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't teabag him though. But yeah, I have a photo of that. So I'll ping you with it later. Okay, so I mean, overall, we like the gameplay and the mission. Overall enjoyable, good. Now the story itself, I know a lot of people have some issues with it, so we will quickly discuss it. But I have to. Well, the first thing I want to discuss are the characters, because people have it in for Nimbus or whatever his name is. Is that right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Nimbus.
Nimbus.
It's not a he.
Sorry, them.
Use they and them.
Yeah. So the internet.
Can we
Nimbus.
can we address that elephant in the room first? Because there's a certain section of the internet that has a particular problem with Nimbus that I just want to step on right out the gate.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody who wants to come at Lightfall and say that it's shit because of the woke agenda involved in that character needs to shut the fuck up. All right? Let me not sugarcoat it. All right? Representation is fine. And in this case, Bungie's Vidoc was more gratuitous about the character's status than the game was. All right?
Mhm.
It's just an aspect of the character. It only shows up in the game in a couple of voice lines and one label.
Yeah,
right?
and they do not shove it down your throat at all.
They
No.
do not shove anything down your throat. There is nothing gratuitous about how they explain what's going on with that character. If anybody's got a problem with that, just sit down.
Yeah, they really do. Like, if that's the reason people are giving it shit, or giving them shit, and or the game shit, because they just tired of, like you said, woke agenda or whatever it is. Do you know Bungie as a company? Like, hello. Like, they've been all about that stuff for as long as I've known them. One of the big reasons that I love Bungie. They're always raising money for that type of stuff. They're putting pins out, they're putting emblems out for all the representation, all that stuff. Like, you're playing the wrong game if you're a bigot, dude. Like, go somewhere else. Like, we don't want you here. We absolutely don't want you here. And then throwing the character in, like you said, they wrote Nimbus as this non-binary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah.
Yes.
They wrote it like that. It's not shoved down your throat. Like you said, it was mentioned a couple times. It's not like every time they fucking talk, they're mentioning it or one way or another, or like it's written across his forehead. Like, it's not, they're
It
not.
just is a thing.
It's
and
just
that's
a
it.
thing. That's it. At the end of the day, and aren't though? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why everybody has such a hard time with it. And like, do I not understand the Cloud Striders to the point where they're just consciousness put inside these things that we physically see, the avatars? Like, are they the actual bodies of the?
That's the Idrimal. They're augmented bodies.
Yeah.
No, okay, all right. I wasn't sure if, because I was like, then it's like the whole point is moot. Like these, but okay, that's not how it works.
All right. So that said, that taken care of. I don't like Nimbus. In fact, I fucking hate Nimbus. All right, if I'm being completely honest. All right, and
This is the writing.
it's not because of the voice acting. I think the voice acting is fine. Acting is fine. It's not because of the character design. I think the character design is great. It's because of the never-ending deluge of one-liners and jokes and dialogue that in the story that just don't match the seriousness of what's going on. I understand this character is supposed to be young and, just coming into their own, but Nimbus strikes me as a side character on a CW DC Comics show. All right. And I hate it. I hate it. Every time they say something when I'm in the middle of doing like an override, I just want to be like, I'm turning the dialogue off. And I had the same problem with Finch and Witch Queen. I do not like characters that are relentlessly there for comic relief. I just don't like it. Cade, people say Cade was there for comic relief. Cade had dark humor. He made poignant jokes to exactly what was going on. And he wasn't in your ear 24/7 while you were on a particular planet. But Nimbus, God, I hate Nimbus's writing.
I mean, he's there a lot when you're on Nessus during the Red War. Making jokes along with Failsafe. Constantly. I get your point. I hear a lot of that. I might be on board, kind of, but here's how I look at it. I look at it like I didn't really notice it when I was doing the campaign, when I was streaming it. I only notice it now when I see clips of people complaining about it. So it wasn't overwhelming enough to me to make me not enjoy the character itself. I'm not a fan of the voice modification. However, they voice modify. Like, I just wasn't like, oh, that sounds cool. I was like, oh, that sounds a little weird, but it didn't bother me. I'll get on that train, I guess. There's probably a couple people that just didn't like how the voice was modified, and I'll agree with that. The one-liners don't bother me. Like, I've gotten used to it with Ghost. Like, that's all I hate maybe not the one-liners, but the dialogue. I found Ghost dialogue's been terrible ever since Destiny 1. In my opinion. And there's even a joke. What is there a joke? There's a joke in the arcade that he quips off that I was like, oh, good Lord. That was terrible. And I noticed that. I can't think of it right now, but I was just like, oh, good Lord. I literally said that when he said it. So, and that's the only thing I can think of other than the fist bump at the end. I was kind of just like, well, that doesn't really... Keitel is standing beside her dead father, right? Like, not.
I mean, well, if in that regard, our guardian was pretty insensitive. Like, oh yeah, we just killed your dad. Okay, yeah, cool. And then
Had Nimbus's attitude changed a bit after Rohan died, I would have been fine with everything before then. But Nimbus's attitude throughout the whole thing seemed it was too jarringly out of place for me. Which would have been fine if it was still the the kid, the apprentice and mentor relationship throughout the whole thing. But I would have liked to have seen Nimbus's character change a little bit more than it did after Rohan died. And then it would have been fine.
Which is ironic because they kind of explain a little bit more of that after the whole campaign is completed, and you're just kind of finishing up the end stuff.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how they don't process their emotions quite the same way.
Right. Sure.
And then he kind of gets he gets emotional at the Hall of Heroes ceremony and some other stuff that happens. So it all happens after the campaign is done, where you actually see the shift. A little bit of a shift. It's still not super strong, but they kind of explain it a little bit more afterwards. And I think to the point most people were already mad and didn't care. Anyway, so I did want to discuss obviously Nimbus and the bit of the controversy around people not liking the character. And then Rohan, which was a great, I thought he was a great character.
That was cool.
There just wasn't enough of him. He died too early in the campaign. The death didn't really feel...
It didn't feel worthy of him being this senior Cloud Strider or anything like that, to me. Just kind of went out, just, meh. I don't know.
Well, two things that I had an issue with. He, blew himself up, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
To destroy the radial mast.
Radial mast. Yeah.
So why did we need Strand to destroy the radial mast?
So by that point, we knew that Callus was prepared for our light abilities and our stasis abilities.
I know, but couldn't we just throw a bomb in there?
Apparently not. Apparently you needed some kind of paracausal force in order to do it.
That was just my point. That was my point. We spent so much time on needing Strand, and I understand why, because of the light suppression, but to destroy the radial mass so they couldn't make the connection between the Veil and the Traveler. But he just walked into it and blew it up. And then
presumably their technology is either advanced enough that it can overcome all that, or it's also paracausal in nature, right?
They do have the Veil, so could have gotten some of that.
Yeah.
Well, and they have nanotechnology that is more advanced than Siva.
Okay, so we just put Nimbus in the next one and blow it up. We don't need Strand. End of story. Anyway, I guess it. So my point in that specifically was, I guess I just wanted to bring that up because I was talking about Rohan, and I just thought it was weird that he could blow it up, and then we had to rely on this training montage of Strand before we went to destroy the second radial mass, or maybe they just repaired it. I don't fucking know. They weren't great on the details. I'm gonna give a lot of the internet credit on that. The details were not really there. I don't know if there was actually lore books at all that explained anything, because I don't read that shit. But yeah, and then so I think Rohan could have been more fleshed out. Maybe died at the end of the campaign,
right?
In a really cool way.
Yeah, exactly. Heroes death.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was weird to give us both of them and then to kill one off super early and then not have that emotionally affect the second one. So that feels like the reason somebody would write that into their story is specifically so that there is this reason for Nimbus to change or to step up. But in reality, it wasn't really specifically needed. We could have just gotten Rohan, no Nimbus. Rohan dies at the end of the campaign, saving Neomuna. Feels a lot more poignant, a lot more emotional. We were with him much longer than just a couple missions. Probably would have been better. Or the same thing. Have both of them through the entire campaign. Rohan can still die at the end, and then it actually emotionally affects Nimbus to a point where, whatever. He's not sure he can continue, or he's going to be even more amazing because of and it grows him as a person or whatever. There's a better way to write that, is my point. And they should have done that.
Yeah.
All right. Overall story. A lot of people have issues with not understanding what's happening. So
it's because there's two things going on. There's the story and there's the Strand tutorial, and they're mixed into one another.
Mm-hmm.
yes, the Strand tutorial was too much. Absolutely, I mentioned it earlier. Definitely could have separated those two things.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So we got what we got. We didn't get a lot of details and stuff. Obviously, we never really understood what the veil was, which seems to be a lot of people's issue. I've been on the side of why does it need to be explained right now? What's everyone's issue with learning about what the veil is later, or what it actually did? Some people don't like that opinion. So see, I've got the only issue I have is little details that they could have filled in some of the gaps, or it felt a little bit disjointed as we were going from mission to mission to mission. And then the biggest thing that I had was right at the beginning cutscene, there was a big explosion, and then the blast shields went down.
Yep.
Where Zavala and all of them were.
Uh-huh.
And then we go through the entire campaign, and then we get to the end when the veil the ghost goes into the veil and it shoots the thing and big triangle, and then all the same people are standing there and the blast shield goes up and then they're watching what's happening. Is this campaign 35 minutes? Is it an hour long in real life?
No, they just were in there for 5 or 6 days just staring at a blast shield waiting for us to finish.
I was wondering, I was while all this stuff is happening on Neo Muna, shouldn't Season of the Defiance be going on Earth?
You would think. It's because it's technically one cutscene that's been cut.
I get it, but it
cut
felt
in the wrong spot, sure. But
it felt so weird to me. It was just
no, yeah, I
it was
agree. When I
wait a
saw that,
minute.
I'm like, wait a minute, yeah. No, I
Is
thought the same thing.
I was like, is it still the same night? Did we do all of that in a few hours? And especially, we got to the Karate Kid, Strand,
Listen, it
training
could just be a
montage.
coincidence.
Isn't
It
that
could just be a
supposed to be
coincidence.
2 weeks?
It could just be a coincidence that we left, did our stuff, and when we came back, the witness was hanging out there the entire time, just having a staring contest with the traveler.
Mhm.
When we make our way back, maybe they just came back in the helm, and coincidentally, everybody was on the helm and stood in the exact same places when they left. That's a coincidence, right? It's
Yeah, especially
possible.
since Mara is on Earth at the farm.
And and then they drop the blast shield, and it just so happens to look like it was one contiguous cutscene that they cut somewhere. It's just
Yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, my point is, I guess I thought that was weird, and that's what I mean by disjointed when I say it was a little bit disjointed. They left out some details, all that type of stuff. I've got no problem with an expansion being the storyline continuing on throughout the year as a full story and getting us to the final shape. So I was fine with, all these little details being left out. I am fully confident that I'm going to learn it, but it does seem like the internet is in a disagreement with me specifically over, they feel like they should have gotten the full story in the expansion, and then that people can't be expected to, I guess, purchase the whole story over seasonal stuff.
So I don't think the problem is that we didn't get explained everything about the Veil. It's fine if that gets explained throughout the course of the season and
Okay.
how that it plays into everything, and how we're gonna probably use it to go to wherever the witness is. I
Mhm.
suspect that's going to happen. We're going to have some kind of Veil analog. We're going to wind up in the same place trying to save the Traveler or whatever, right? The problem is that we didn't get a complete story, and every other major Destiny expansion, even if the story was short, like 2 hours, like Curse of Osiris,
Yeah.
we at least got a beginning, middle, and end of one story, and I don't feel like we got that here all in one campaign. That's my problem. Now, granted, when I compare this to my two favorite or three favorite bits of content from Destiny, two of them are the Taken King and the other one is Forsaken.
Okay.
Bungie is the first one to say that they over-delivered on those expansions. Right, Taken King came out at a different time when there wasn't seasonal content. There were just these big expansions that were intended to last for not just a year but multiple years. And Forsaken was just flat over delivered. Right, they will tell you that they put too much into that, and it set a bar that people want to get back to. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we've never gotten 2 patrol zones in one expansion since.
Nope.
Witch Queen had a complete story.
Yeah.
Now there were questions at the end of the story, like what's going on with Savathun, right? What's happened to her ghost? Where when is that going to be resolved? Right? We've got her body.
The Traveler giving Hive.
Yeah.
Light.
So we don't have those answers, but Witch Queen still had a contiguous story. We had a start, a middle, and an end to that story, and it was satisfying at the end. We don't have that with Beyond Light, in my opinion.
No.
Okay.
They're trying to do this downbeat thing. They're trying to do Lightfall. They're trying to do this Empire Strikes Back downbeat, narrative downbeat for the characters and the overall story, but it just didn't hit right for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you kind of explain it that way, but at the same time, I've always been expecting Lightfall to be a part 1 to the final shape. Like the way they've marketed it. This is the beginning of the end being the final shape. So this is part 1 of a part 2. Maybe they should have come out and said that specifically, and people would be more okay with it. Potentially, I'm not entirely sure. They might still be angry. But yeah, this definitely feels like half a full story in the terms of when you're looking at it like that. And it was well known originally when this was planned that these 2 expansions were not to be. It was supposed to be Witch Queen and then the final shape.
No, Witch Queen and then Lightfall, and then the final shape came when we found out about the final shape when they were discussing the Witch Queen.
Yes, but before that, when they were planning, before they announced anything, the original plan was to have Witch Queen and then 1 more expansion.
Yeah. Yep.
They changed that to be 2 more expansions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even Strand was planned to be introduced during Witch Queen.
Yep.
So Lightfall was built after the plan.
Yeah.
So it's probably why it feels as disjointed as it does, which is not an excuse, but I mean, it gives you some perspective on the concept maybe of why it feels the way it feels. Why Strand is so beat into the mission campaign, and to why it feels like an incomplete story.
So let me ask regarding like the story of Lightfall. If you take out all of the Strand aspects, all right, how much story do we have left? There's not much there.
You're right. Maybe that's why they baked it into it to to inflate the content more, or if you remove Strand from it completely, would we have gotten a more filled campaign?
So I don't need a 6-hour campaign or a 10-hour campaign or a 12-hour campaign.
Oh, I want a big campaign.
I need a campaign
with a full story
that has a satisfying set of story beats with an ending. All right.
Well,
It can end with a question, but it needs to have an ending for the story that is presented inside that campaign.
Okay. Well, my question about the ending to both of you, in regards to like when you go back to the tower and you talk to like Zaval and Ikora and all that kind of shit, do you feel that we have lost, so to speak,
No.
given what we saw? Just
No,
the triangle portal. It doesn't. That's all that's happened. Nothing else bad has happened.
No, but it doesn't
Traveler
have anything to do with the story beats.
The traveler doesn't look like it's dead. Like they're saying that.
They
don't
keep
think
saying
the
it's
traveler-
gone, and then if you
It
read,
doesn't look like it's dead to me.
well, it
It's
keeps,
just there with a triangle, with a purple triangle on it. That's it. It's just got
yeah.
a new, you know.
But if you read the message from Ikora after she finished her talking, it says specifically that the traveler is obviously still physically there, but the ghosts cannot feel it anymore. They know that they still have the light somehow, but they cannot feel the presence of the traveler like they once did. So that specifically is saying like it's, you know, it has been dormatized or however you want to call it in somehow shape or form with this triangle portal that's been dragging into it. So it's one of the things that I actually always used to say. I was like, you know, the traveler can't die while Destiny continues. The reason for that being is the light is built into the gameplay. So this was just their way of superseding that. The thing is still there. Nobody can feel it anymore, but they somehow still have the light. That triggers me a little bit. And it's just like, it's like, what do you mean that you still have the light, but the traveler's dead? Like, make up your fucking mind.
The traveler's not dead. It's just not directly connected to us anymore. But do I feel like we've been beaten? No.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
We are all the Guardian. All right.
You want to know?
We bitch slap gods for a living. All right. It's what we do. I am not. There's no way for me to feel down until such time as I die in the game and I can't ever res again.
Did you ever see that Destiny like meme of like Keitel asking Zavala to bow? And then I don't know if Lance Reddick actually read the thing or it's AI generated voice.
No, he read it at one point.
Oh, he did on like Twitter, and it's like the best.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever. He's like, "Excuse me,
Mhm.
you see this guy right here, this motherfucking Guardian, that fucking yeah." And that's essentially what he says. Bitch slaps God and makes it home for dinner and like shit like that. It's so fucking funny. And he's just like, "And you want me to bow to you, you stupid bitch?" Like, it's
as far as I'm concerned, the witness just ran away from us and is hiding. Now we're gonna go find him, or it, or whatever.
Them, yeah, yeah. Well, two things I wanted to say because you asked me if I felt like we lost.
Well, just because Keitel says that at the end, and I'm like, I don't feel that at all. So
yeah, well, there's a reason that I don't feel that way because the story that we were following the entire time was to beat Callus, and then we did that. So, like, I feel like, you know, we got the conclusion there where we defeated the person we've been trying to get to for the duration of this campaign. He's dead right in front of us. And then this is the part that I hate so much. How, you know, you win the fight and whatever, and then the ghost just floats up into the veil and completes the connection. And nobody's like, no, and like puts it in their pocket. Like, you know, you're a hunter or a warlock or a titan, right? They all just stare at, just fucking triple jump, grab that motherfucker. Like, what's going on? And then Nimbus is the one that finally flies up there on his Silver Surfer skateboard and grabs it out of the sky.
You haven't mentioned the most important part of that scene.
Kvostov.
Why do I have a Kvostov in my hands?
Because it's a meme, and they thought it would be funny.
Where is my Kvostov exotic if you're going to put it in my hands in the last cutscene? So I can't pay attention to whatever else is going on because I'm like, the hell is that doing in my hands? I have a lingering dread in my hands, damn it.
Yes, all right. Kvostov, which, whatever. It's an auto rifle, if you didn't know, everybody. It's the original auto rifle, and I don't know.
Well, you didn't.
People are
You didn't
obsessed
play
with it.
Destiny 1 and didn't have the.
I played the first
have the-
year
Did
of
you have the
Destiny
exotic?
1.
All right.
You didn't have the exotic.
Did you have the exotic Kavastov though,
I don't know.
where you could go? Came in later in the game, where you
Oh,
could go
well,
in
then
and
no.
change the archetype of the gun.
No.
RPM,
Then no.
mag, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, but listen. Okay, so shit, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Damn it. Anyway, if anybody was to ask me what I disliked about Lightfall, the story beats, that would be number one. That 10 seconds of how we went from winning to losing was terrible. That's bad writing.
I mean, they at least foreshadowed that something was going on the entire time, because Ghost was feeling odd multiple times during the time, and every time he felt that way, there was little orange witness gunk around him, right?
Yeah.
And Ghost has already been overtaken by the darkness on multiple occasions. It happened several times in Beyond Light.
And Shadowkeep as well.
It
That's
happened at the
Shadowkeep is
end
the
of
first time.
Shadowkeep too. Yeah.
Yep.
Where the witness actually talked to us through him. Told us he was going to fuck us, basically. I remember that. Anyway, yeah, even if they foreshadowed it, it's like, come on, it's like obvious. And then secondly, how the fuck did Osiris know that shit was about to happen? He was trying to warn us through radio malfunction. And of course, radio malfunction. Everyone else's radios work fine, but Osiris's are broken for some reason. Okay.
Wow. We all know that Osiris is an incompetent bitch anyway.
Okay, I will have to say, like, everybody, like,
He got on my
the
nerves
first
on the campaign at
half
some
of the
point.
campaign,
I
Osiris,
hated him.
I wanted to grab his fucking head and rip it off.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep, I
shut
hated
your
him.
goddamn mouth, you little bitch.
I have the same feeling about Osiris as I do with Zavala. You remember the scene in Warmind when at the end you open the chamber at the mine complex and Zavala's there and he says to you, "What do you think you're doing?" That's one of those moments where I just wanted to be like, "You know who I am?" And I have the same feeling with Osiris all the time, only he's yelling at us, even though over the course of the whole last season, he's trying to get us to help him restore people's faith in him.
Right.
Like, shut up, old man.
Oh, it was
Listen,
just...
I understand you don't have a ghost anymore, but you need to stop crying about it.
Well, he had...
Maybe. I was going to say, maybe he'll become Nimbus's Cloud Strider buddy.
Great. So Nimbus can become even more of an insufferable
Well, they
asshole.
do work in pairs, and Osiris doesn't have the light, so maybe that's like their way of making him, useful to combat stuff.
I think it'd be
Instead
more
of just-
interesting of a story if he ended up being Osiris's, like, side piece.
No, because
Well, then Saint would have to kill
he's
him.
not going to cheat on Saint.
Why the
Not
fuck
going to do
not?
it. No.
Saint's a robot. He's not real.
He still has feelings.
Yeah, sure. Exos don't have feelings. They're robots. Just saying. The only feelings they have are pre-programmed. Oh, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that one if anyone watches the video. It's Gizmo.
Green just noticed Gizmo. He just said
Oh.
it's Gizmo. Yeah.
That's because he just appeared on the screen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, okay, so I think we got the general oversights of our opinions of, at least the story beats of Lightfall. I enjoyed it overall. So I guess we'll just kind of like move on into Strand itself, which I'm going to have a hard time talking about. Strand is super fun, but I feel like there's just so much more we haven't unpacked yet. With the different, Strand guns and builds, and they just unlocked all of the,
Artifacts yesterday.
they unlocked all the artifacts yesterday for us to play with. And
Last night.
I think that actually has a lot to do with people complaining about Strand, because they're like, whoa, calm down. Take all of the stuff, start building it together, and then if you still don't like it, then you're free to go complain on the internet. And then the more and more stuff that's coming out today, of like all these threadling builds and all this other shit and fucking. I don't know. The more and more I watch it, like I understand right now that like the Strand Hunter Super is like
It's OP as shit.
it's broken DPS. That's actually a glitch, so it's not going to be that good forever. Um,
I'm gonna laugh if they end up having to shut Strand down for the raid. I'm gonna chuckle. It's
they
gonna be
might
funny.
have to, but like I'm watching other shit with like the Warlock Threadlings, and then like just the Titan's ability to suspend everything. Like
Those exotics are fucking nuts.
once the hunter thing gets nerfed, like I have a feeling, I just have this feeling that hunter's not going to be nearly as good. Maybe but like I said, I haven't got into all the stuff yet. I can't really figure it out. But right now, like I've got that melee dart that it hits every fucking enemy in the area. Like it'll go through every single one, and then it comes back to you, and you can catch it if you time it right. And then you get like half your melee back, and then you can do it again. But it doesn't do much damage. That's the thing.
No.
It's not that strong. And then we can do a Shatter Dive Suspend that suspends like a small circle around us.
Pretty cool though. It was fun to do in the campaign.
I know, but it's the cooldown for that is it's not super great. So I mean, maybe I'm just watching the wrong people.
Well, the kit didn't have much to it when we first got our hands on it because everything was locked down. I've got everything unlocked now, and Strand feels fine. There are options to make builds. There are still some specific complaints about it. Listen, I'm a Titan main, and the roaming super or Strand is undoubtedly fun. It is fast, all right?
Yes.
You can punch things a lot. You have a ranged attack, but it's still boring as fuck because just punching things green and anime running around. It is so stupid that I now can punch things in purple, I can punch things in light blue, I can punch things in dark blue, and now I can punch things in green. The only roaming super that Titans have that has any style is hammers. I don't know why they couldn't at least give some more visual impact to the roaming supers that we have. That's not I coat my hands in a different color of Crayola. All right? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm still going to use it, but I hate it.
That's funny. I haven't played Warlock or Titan yet. I'm just basing my opinions off a few videos that I've seen.
Warlocks are great.
Warlock
let me cast a rift and shove like 8 threadlings down your throat. Once you have everything set up correctly.
Yeah, you got to eat your grenade first, right?
And their melee has a range of approximately into the next patrol zone.
Yeah, but
their melee range is literally like 50 meters. Like it goes farther than Celestial Fire does.
You got to hit all 3 of them to do damage, though. Like real damage.
No, one does, at least during the campaign.
I'm thinking PvP.
This amount of damage.
Yeah, sorry. I saw some PvP videos where you had to hit with all 3 for a kill.
Well, I'm not even talking about PvP in general yet. There's still too much to work out there. I think Suspend in general is an unhealthy ability to have in PvP. Even if Suspend is short, and you're able to hip fire, it immediately takes you out of first-person view and puts you into third-person view, which for a lot of people that are in the vast middle of the PvP, skill curve, is going to be super difficult for them to do anything, getting forced into a different view and then having to defend yourself immediately. Also, any ability that just takes you straight out of the action in PvP is bullshit. It was bullshit when Stasis would freeze you forever, and it's bullshit now that you just get hung up in the air. All right, it's stupid. It's bad design for PvP, in particular. I think it's great in PvE and fun in PvE, but for PvP, it's kind of dumb.
That's a fair assessment. I haven't played a lot of Crucible yet, just enough to get some pinnacles and some stuff, but nobody was using it. Second, yeah, ironically, I
People
thought,
need to get it
I've
unlocked
never
so they
used it
can
yet.
actually make some use of it. Is the
okay,
main thing.
one thing that I fucking hate though, and I may be in the minority in this, but I cannot grapple while holding the spark in Rift.
Well,
I want to grab the spark and I want to swing all the way to the fucking thing and I want to jam it in.
assume that's by design choice.
That's a stupid design choice. First of all, stupid design choice because it's not like you get 2 of those charges to get you all the way there like every round. Like, you know, the cooldown is a cooldown.
Pay to win Rift Strand.
The second design choice is if you have the spark and you try to grapple, it despawns and respawns somewhere on the other side of the map. You don't just drop it where you're at. It just goes fring.
I have not played.
That sounds like a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have any idea how fucking confused I got? Like 12 times cuz other people weren't doing this either. So like yeah, cuz I totally swung at least twice all the way to the thing and couldn't figure out why I wasn't jamming it in. And then I turned to see the spark was like on the other side of the map. I guess I didn't clue in on the first time. And then the second time I got it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm dropping this and it's spawning somewhere else when I try to grapple. And then there was other times that before I figured out what was going on, that the spark would split on my screen if I wasn't the one holding it. And then it would show, say it was the enemy that had it and they tried to grapple. It would still show that person have it. But then there was another spark on the other side of the screen, and then the enemy would pick that one up too. And then you would go to fight the person that you thought had it, and then the other person that actually had it would just like walk around him back and put it in the thing. Yeah, it was a clusterfuck. So that was happening in Rift because it wasn't. It would make you drop it and put it on the other side of the map, but it wasn't registering right away that person didn't have it anymore. So the visual cues, if you could see them in Rift, you can see where the person with the spark is. If you've seen them in the last 10 seconds, someone on your team's seen them in the last 10 seconds or whatever it is, they were still running with it. So you were like, wait, which one do I go for? I don't know. Who has the real spark? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a bug.
That was fun. I don't know. I think they should leave it in that's a way to trick the enemy team. So what you do is you run into their line of sight and then you grapple, and then you have someone on the other side of the map pick it up, and then the enemy team's like, "Oh no, we don't know which one to go for."
Be kind of fun.
It's a new strat, a new grapple strat. Anyway, I have no idea, but yeah. So I don't know much about Strand in PvP yet. It was a little fun to use. It's not uber strong. People keep saying it is. Like, it's super easy to get away from threadlings, especially if you have grapple up. Like, just suspend. I never got suspended, so I have no idea how annoying it is. Rex says it's annoying, but overall, like I said, I've only been playing the hunter, and like, I enjoy it. I think the threaded dart or rope dart or whatever you want to call it needs a damage buff. But don't nerf the super. It's perfect just the way it is. I want to go solo some dungeons. Thanks. Goodbye.
The super's getting fixed. Sorry.
I know it's getting fixed. Because right now, well, you can watch it go, and you're doing like damage, and then all of a sudden, like a quarter of the health just disappears, and the enemy dies. That's
Well, it does
bug.
more. It does. It's doing more damage. The game is registering more damage than you see damage numbers.
Exactly.
There's a difference between the damage.
So we're
numbers
still going to
and-
get the damage numbers that we're seeing. We're just not going to get the amount of damage on the bar that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Which will be fun. Which is fine, I think. I don't know. Anyway, when's it getting fixed? I gotta go solo flawless to somebody that works with. I feel like that fucking guy in Spire would just murder me if I was trying to.
It works on Keitel. It works on Galaron.
Ooh, Keitel is good. Keitel and Galaron. I never ended up solo flawlessing that because I kept dying to the fucking glitch, the bell glitch, and I would just get triggered and fucking punch my monitor.
Go do that after.
Yeah. Okay, so because we don't have anything specific to need to go over, we're kind of at our time. Obviously, there's so much we can talk about Lightfall.
Yeah, we can talk about this shit.
Okay, all right. What's this?
Look at this. Don't look at the text. Just look at the image. What the fuck is this?
It's a
It's so
stasis
ugly.
mask, obviously.
It's so ugly.
Who designed this?
It's such an ugly.
Wait, is that
fucking
Listen.
exotic.
Yes,
Yes,
it's new.
that's
It's a
the
new
that's the
exotic.
other Titan exotic.
Okay,
It's
but
so
why
ugly.
is there
Listen.
stasis exotics in an expansion all about Strand?
I don't care that it's stasis.
I do.
It's just
Yeah,
I
the
get
fact
care
that it's
about.
hideous.
I care about how it looks. No, listen. I don't want to shit on asset designers out there, armor designers at Bungie. But
I do all the time.
whoever designed this, design something else, please,
or die in a fire.
Or no, I'm not gonna say that. But this is some terrible bullshit right
I'm
here.
glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. Because yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, what in the shit is that? So ugly.
Oh, and what's wrong with Nimbus's ribs? Now that we're talking
What?
about with how weird things look, does that look weird to you?
I mean,
It's not his ribs; it's below it. I
to be fair,
guess.
yeah, like how they kind of like pop out just above like where his.
Well, whatever
garter
he's
belt
wearing, like
is.
just pushes his gut and kidneys and all his stomach and shit, and just drives it into his body, so his ribs are like flowing out over top of them.
I just couldn't stop staring at the package.
Well, it's upside
Sir.
down, isn't it? It did look though, like I don't know, maybe my monitor's too dark, but you can't actually see anything where it should be. There's that big bulge that's like upside down just above it. Yeah, so a little bit of an odd design, in my opinion.
Listen, Nimbus is a 9 foot tall, futuristic, nano enhanced cyborg. What are they supposed to look like? I don't know.
But by the way, did you notice that when Rohan was alive and you walked up to him, your face was literally at crotch height?
I did
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that immediately because I was standing next to Rohan talking to one of my friends who was in my fire team at the time they were talking to Osiris. But then the icon saying that we needed to turn around and talk to Rohan was there, and I turned around and it just was a face full of crotch, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta take a few steps back."
Yep.
Okay, so I looked it up just to see it again. It's not upside down. It's too high. That's not where his wiener would be.
Well, we don't. They are non-binary, so we don't know what's going on in there. And they're also a
They still
cyborg.
have genitals. They're not born without any.
Well, we don't know what the status of those genitals are.
I suppose, but they keep calling themselves human.
Yeah, but they could have some kind of cybernetic doodad in there. We don't know. Maybe it's nanotech. Maybe it changes based on the needs of the moment. I don't know.
Oh, what kind of need of the moment has your penis attached to your like belly button?
Listen, don't kink shame.
That's where it would have to be based on. Yeah, that was my problem with it. It's too high. I wonder if he just it's so big that he just like pulls it up and then puts it in a little pouch in the front.
Like a kangaroo?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that was interesting. I typed in Nimbus in Google so I get a fire. And why is there a bunch of Goku?
Because Goku flies around on the Nimbus.
On Nimbus. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The little cloud Goku flies around on is the Nimbus.
Mm-hmm.
How stupid.
I'm such a fucking nerd.
I knew it too.
Yeah, the fact that you both knew that's your own problem.
I don't even watch anime. And I knew that. What's wrong with me?
Okay, so if we have any people that rewatch the podcast, like watch from episode to episode to episode or whatever you want, typically we go over obviously all the new, blog posts and whatnot. And there was a couple blog posts that we're not going over, but there was a patch notes that was just fucking absurd, obviously, because it was a new expansion patch notes. Blah 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 blah. It's basically everything we've really talked about over the last 6 episodes, just all point dotted out. There's a few things that are in there that we didn't mention. Well, there definitely is, because there's shit about the mana core.
There's exotic armor nerfs in there. And the only high point is that Hoyle got nerfed finally. Heart of Inmost Light was nerfed, and it's still the strongest neutral game Titan PvE exotic that it exists. Still use it. Don't think it's shit because they nerfed it.
It's I was using it during the campaign.
Anyway, so my point was we're not going to be like going over that in detail like we normally would. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in there, so feel free to go check it out yourself. Sorry that you're not going to get a point version. Rec just said the most important thing about the Heart of Inmost Light, but it's still really good, so feel free to use it. But it's got all the stuff we've talked about increasing cooldowns on abilities and all the new fragments and all that shit that we've been going over for the last month. Lots of fun stuff. And then on the TWAB there really wasn't anything other than they tried to explain what the veil was so people would stop being angry at them. They released all the strand fragments. So if you weren't aware of that already, like they were going to release them on the 7th and then some again after the raid was completed. They said, fuck that, because the internet was like, strand sucks. And they were like, no, it doesn't. Here, take these now so you don't keep saying it sucks. And I think overall it's working so far. People seem a little bit more excited over the last day because they're trying out new builds. And then I found out that the Among Us thing isn't actually going to be in Destiny. It's just an Among Us cosmetic upgrade, which is cool, I guess, but I don't play Among Us that much, or at all.
Goose Duck is a better game anyway.
Goose Duck, and then I recently got Among Us in VR, and they don't have like all those little add-ons. Like you don't get all that stuff. You don't get all the same stuff that you get in Among Us normal. They did say, do our job for us, please, if you're interested, and send us some really cool designs that would work inside of Destiny 2. How many people are employed at Bungie? Do you not have an art designer that can fucking do that yourself? If not, go hire somebody. Stop farming your work out to the internet.
I mean, there's an Among Us ship in Destiny, or a ship that is the relative shape of one of those guys.
I know, but for real, they were just like, well, this is what they said. It's not Destiny if it's not Destiny. Am I right? With Destiny 2 characters invading Among Us, we wanted to see what it could look like if those roles were reversed. So make it happen. Show us your best Among Us inspired blah, 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 and use hashtag Guardian Cosmic Cube and to make sure that we see it. And I guarantee if they find shit that they like, they're going to use it in game and make money off of it. Obviously, I'm not saying that they don't pay those creators if they utilize that stuff. I'm just saying it's like, have somebody on your design team make it.
Just don't make another helmet like Cadmus Ridge, please.
Yeah, put the same person on it. Clearly, they have no idea how to make a stasis or a Destiny 2 armor, so put them in and make some Among Us armor.
Listen, I know we're at time, but we should make some time. It doesn't have to be tonight, but we should make some time to talk about the state of the mod system after the changes. I think there's enough there to discuss.
Yeah, I'm in a minority on that too. Sorry, I'm in a lot of minorities. I like how easy I can figure out how things work now. It's so simple. I'm just like, I understand. But everyone else, go ahead.
It's nice in that regard, but when we were reading the mod changes and how they said they were going to like change over stuff and go to this armor charge system and everything like that, I didn't expect literally all of the old mods getting 100% deleted with a complete new sweep. That I didn't completely expect. And it, with a lot less options than there was before.
Yeah.
Presumably, there's going to be more mods that are added now that they've reset mods to one system.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel because I was very familiar with the mod system myself and could get in there and build mods that combine Charge with Light and Wells and even Warmind cells and some of my builds. The complexity wasn't a problem for me. It was one of the things I enjoyed about it. And now that's gone, it feels kind of soulless to me. Hopefully there's more mods added. I am a little annoyed that there's we should probably talk about the commendation system at some point. Doesn't have to be tonight again, but
the cheese that you can do for it.
There's a going from 6 to 7. There is a challenge where you have to do some nightfalls, and it says the reward for doing those nightfalls are more armor mods.
Right.
I've done that challenge. There are no more armor mods. Nothing. My collections didn't change. Nothing else became available on my armor. I was kind of annoyed at that, but my biggest problem with those mods are for our hunter friends out there. Right, you lost all your stat bonuses from powerful friends. In particular. So there are a lot of people that can no longer manage their 100 or even 100 mods, and it's mostly bullshit for hunters because the most important stats, two of the most important stats in the game for most people are in the top half of an armor node, right? It's resilience and recovery. Hunters also have to have mobility to fuel their class ability. There's no way to get anywhere close to 100 with just one node of armor. So hunters really have the short end of the stick there.
You don't need you don't need 100 mobility when you can just run 3 utility kickstarts. Come on. It gets rid of half the cooldown.
So you're having to run utility kickstarts to strictly counteract a disadvantage you have over the other classes who can split between the two nodes. Yeah. It's not really fair to hunters. All right, I'm a Titan main, and I'm like this is dumb for it. Well, you do if you play a lot of PvP, especially. Anyway, hunters really got the short end of the stick of the mod system. Besides the fact that the mod system is kind of soulless and
I haven't gotten into
this weird lock and key system.
I haven't really gotten
do thing with orb. Okay, you're done.
That's basically all it is, really. I've made 2 builds that I think work okay right now. I'm in by no means like a mod like guru or anything. Right now I have a strand thing that I like, and I put together a void build that seems really nice with getting some overshields and stuff on kills and volatile rounds, which are really easy to get now. Oh my god! By the way,
well, there's like 3 different sources you can do by getting them.
Yeah, volatile rounds, and then like just other stuff, and I have it's probably Devour and some other shit, and I have Repulsor Brace and on a SMG, and it's just like it's really like I feel like I can stay alive a lot longer than I could before Lightfall without going invis and running away like a bitch.
Right. Once again, we have no quantitative numbers on what the mods actually do. They just say increase this or decrease that or moderately increase or whatever. And once again, it's the community that's to figure it out. I think that's probably a design choice to give content creators something to do, honestly. But it's I can't tell you how frustrating it is when I want to do a build that's got stat bonuses, because you have the Charge with Light mod or the armor charge mods that increase stats, they increase discipline, they increase intellect, they increase whatever. But there's no way to tell by how much.
Right.
It's irritating.
And when you die, either some or all of them get taken off of you.
listen, it's a Destiny release. It wouldn't be a Destiny release if there wasn't a bunch of bugs, like
Fair
you
point.
going into a new zone or a new activity and half your mods shutting off. Or, I don't know if you've experienced this, the constant ghosting. You'll be running through an activity and you'll be invisible. Your gun will be invisible. You'll go to aim down sights. You won't have a reticle because you're
I have
invisible.
not seen that yet. I've
Your
seen
friends
it
will
on
be
like
invisible.
Twitter and stuff like that, but I have not seen
Somebody,
it. Actually.
they actually just they tweeted about that just before we went live.
I'm not gonna get on their ass about bugs. It's just part of playing Destiny at this point. They have game break, even if they're game breaking bugs. I try not to sweat it, with the exception of they do some shit during some limited seasonal content, and I lose my mind on the Discord, Twitter, threaten to stop playing Destiny.
Festival of the Lost.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
All right. I'm trying to think of how I can. Oh, I know how I can do this. Hold on a second. Oh wait, you can't see it. I wanted to show you.
Just are you running through OBS or is your camera connected directly to Discord?
This camera that you're seeing is connected to Discord.
All right.
Oh, you're running it through OBS as a virtual camera?
Yeah,
Okay.
I run mine as a virtual camera so I can add things if need be.
Yeah, no, I can't do both at the same time. Oh, maybe I can.
Like, when it comes time
to
do when we're gonna do plugs later, I can do this. Ta-da!
Yeah, I get it. We're gonna finish up here soon, but I'm gonna try something. You might be right if I can do that, and then say if I switch to this for everybody. Where's my display? I need a new display. Hold on. I don't fucking know. Display capture. Not that one, guys. The big one here. Oh, okay, perfect. All right. Everyone's going to be like, why am I looking at this baby sloth? But they are. Did it work? Ah!
Yeah, yes, I see a baby sloth. Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
So chat can also see it and our watchers. So remember last week when I said this week at Bungie had cat pictures linked at the bottom of the page? Well, this week they had where is it here? Right here, this P. Oh, it's backwards for you. I just realized. That's okay though. This P links to a baby sloth, and this A links to a raccoon. Giving a peace sign. So I just want or whatever, rock on sign. Yeah. Rock on. So I just wanted to show everybody that. And then we're gonna do that every week. Whatever.
Green's gonna adopt one of the animals that he shows on screen every week as well.
No. Anyway, I thought the baby sloth was super cute, and I was like,
all right, we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There's so much more to talk about, obviously, but we don't want to keep going. This was the only time we didn't have shit that we actually, like, a physical list of things we had to talk about, and we still went over time. So we're terrible at podcasting. We are the worst. I'm a terrible host. I can't keep people on track. Welcome to Shrouded, by the way. All right, we're going to plug some shit. So let's do it now. Go ahead and use your fancy thing and plug. It's you, Rick.
Sorry, I was looking at Twitter. Derelict Prime, No Invasion Gambit tournament coming on March 25th, even though there's a fucking typo in this infographic, whatever, I don't care. It wouldn't be one of my graphics if there wasn't typos all over it. 1:00 p.m. Eastern. All right. It's 4v4 Gambit. There are no invasions as every year. And as every year, we have people asking us, what do you mean no invasions? Well, it's a good time. Trust us. We've done it multiple times, and even the haters end up having a good time. This year, it's legendary gear only. No exotic armor, no exotic weapons, unless you engage with our Derelict Prime event pass. Over the course of this month, you can use the event pass to do a number of challenges, earn some motes, bank those motes to get a bunch of potential rewards. One of which is unlocking exotic armor and exotic weapons for the tournament. And if you bank enough modes, you'll get a server title. So if you want to give yourself a little advantage for Derelict Prime, then you got to engage with the community and win some Gambit matches while you're playing with other SGC members. So, yeah. That's going on this month.
That sounds like an amazing time. Everyone go sign up. Remember, you must be a member of an SGC clan to participate. So yeah, go join one of our amazing clans. We got PC, Xbox, and PSN clans. You can find our Discord at shroudedgaming.com/Discord. Make sure to join and hop in and sign up. Good Saint, you got anything you want to plug?
Speaking of joining Shrouded, the recruitment post will be in the description box down below. That will be going live today, which is Saturday. Yeah, go and upvote that and pick one of our many clans that fits your style, your whatever, whichever one looks good to you. Click it, join it, come and join our Discord, and yeah, have some fun with us.
Pick the coolest names. No. All right. So if you're watching this on Saturday afternoon, SUC Player of the Month stream is taking place tonight. Make sure to check it out. If you didn't nominate somebody this month, too fucking late. You should nominate somebody next month.
It's one of the challenges on Derelict Prime.
Beautiful. One of the challenges on Derelict Prime. So yeah, go ahead and do that, and then you can get yourself some super motes. Other than that, I don't think we got any specific events lined up for a little bit. So the standard SGC Player of the Week stream, check it out every Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Wednesdays at 11 Eastern, 11 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock BST, I think. I don't know, something like that. Shh, too much stuff. And then yeah, you can watch this live every week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern on our Patreon. So check that out, patreon.com/shroudedgaming. Now remember, we have weekly giveaways, 2,300 weekly silver, and we've been giving away a Lightfall every week. Obviously that stayed up, so hopefully whoever wins doesn't have Lightfall. But the winners are in the description below because I didn't draw them again because I'm really bad at it. However, I want to, if you actually make it this far into the video, which nobody has, give me some suggestions for what we could give away other than Lightfall, since Lightfall's out and most people that want it probably already have it. And now that's a boring giveaway. We're thinking Bungie merch, SEC merch, maybe switch it around every month, but or every week. But if you've got some recommendations, drop them below, please and thank you. I think that's about it. I think that's a wrap on this week at Shrouded, episode 6. Lightfall impressions and spoilers. We got a lot more to talk about regarding Lightfall, and we'll be doing so in the coming weeks. So expect that, as well as if there's any, really cool, interesting blog posts from Bungie, we'll be going over those in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. Anyway, I want to say thank you to my guests, Mr. Good Saint and Mr. Wrecked. They've been great. Just kidding. Not the great part.
What was that?
The terrible part. You've been amazing. Thank you so much for your insight. I've been really enjoying Lightfall. I hope everybody has, despite its quirks and whatnot. It's a lot of new content, and it's very enjoyable, in my opinion. So hopefully you can find the joy in it as well and join one of our...
Yeah, Crow got shot. Fuck that guy.
What?
I said, yeah, Crow got shot. Fuck that guy.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Oh, my God. I love Amanda.
Best cutscene.
She's so amazing. Did you fuck? Oh, man. I was so happy. I was
we're ending. Talk about it next time.
It was so good. Anyway, you're right. We didn't talk about Season of Defiance at all. Damn it. All right. Anyway, Crow got shot because Amanda rules. Woo! All right. Peace out, everybody watching live. Peace out, all you recorder weirdos. Just kidding. Bye.